So our reunion of our small Sangha for the Satipatthana courses. It's nice to see you all again. Yeah, I felt to make this session to have a little bit of a get together and see some faces, see how the practice is, and maybe to touch on a topic which I've been investigating a lot recently. Yeah, we will go straight into that actually. We'll do a little bit of theoretical and then some practice, and then we can also share a little bit how it is. And it won't be a standard. Recently, I did a workshop with a friend, with my girlfriend. It was about animals and how animals experience the world. It was a water dance workshop, so we're exploring the water and how we sense the world in the water. And I've been reading this book, which my mom actually gave me. It's about how different animals sense the world completely different than us humans. The world that we experience, our seeing, our hearing, our sensation is very different from that of the way an elephant experiences the world, the way a
Raima, we have problems in hearing you.
Yeah, I can't hear you either. You keep breaking up.
Is it connection or is it the wind that's coming in?
Don't know, but you keep sort of
connection
going on and off.
I think it's the headphones.
Might be the headphones, because you were doing well for a while.
Okay. I can try without the headphones. I think the headphones should be okay. How is it now? It's still okay. Better. Okay, let's see. Let's see how it is. Maybe it's the wind, you know? I can try closing this. And be in darkness. Oh my God, it's so dark. How to solve this problem? Moving desk. Okay. Hopefully there's no wind now. The world, how we experience it. Yeah, and in this, I came across the topic of the way we perceive our world and our nervous systems. And we have these two different parts of our nervous system, which some of you may be already familiar with or know much more about than I do. But we have the sensory nervous system. So the nervous system, which I think of it as like from the periphery to the center. So the signals are coming from outside, like for example, now you feel your hand, you hear things, you feel your body, you see thoughts coming in through your mind. And it's kind of like things coming in, signals being processed from the peripheral nervous system, signals going to the central nervous system and being known there, so being recognized in consciousness. And then we have the motor nervous system. So the nervous system which allows you to move. So if you start to move, maybe your arms, start to move your fingers, hands, arms right now. And the feeling of moving the body, of growing the arms up, of retracting them down back towards you, of growing them up. This feeling of doing that, if you can feel it, is the motor nervous system. So it's the nervous system which goes from central to the periphery. It goes in the other direction. It's your brain and your central nervous system, which is also the gut, sending signals out towards the hands. So the flow of information is outwards, from center to out. And it's associated with moving the body, with speaking. And we have these two types of the nervous system, two directions of the signal. And when we are working in stillness, so if you all come to stillness now, we are working mainly with the sensory nervous system. So to keep recognizing what's coming in, the hearing, the seeing, the feeling of the body as kind of a passive act, letting everything happen. And we're going to include the thinking also, as because the experience of thinking is something that we are being conscious of, and it's also activity of the nervous system. So whatever you think when you kind of don't try to actively think, whether it's thoughts of recognition or things you don't actively do. And what we are working here with in stillness is to allow these different stimuli of the nervous system to appear and disappear in their time. To not hold on to any of these things, not hold on to any of these sensations, these sights, these smells, these thoughts, these sensations. Not to kind of solidify and contract around them, but also not to push them away. So the image is like one of being a little bit like a circuit of an electrical circuit or an electrical conductor. And each of these events, the sight, the sound, the smell, the thought, just passes through you. It comes, it goes, it comes, it goes, it comes, it goes, continuously. There's nothing you push away, there's nothing you hold on to. You are with the moment by moment experience. And kind of passively watching it. Just passively resting in the place where all of these appearances are happening. And the practice is to not coagulate around them, to not tighten around things. And that's already difficult enough, as we know from our daily practice. We keep holding on to sensations, things that we don't like, a pain, a tension, a stream of thought about a subject, something we don't like, and we keep pushing it away, we keep going on. But we're getting better. We're getting better step by step at letting these things come and go and observing the change, the continuous change in it all. And we can practice this in sitting. And if we all stand up, let's all stand up. We can do the same in any position, in standing, it doesn't matter. When we are standing in stillness, there's still things happening, seeing, sensations are different, hearing, thinking changes. So take a moment to stand and just become aware of the sensory experience and to let it pass through continuously. Or in walking, So now let's walk back and forth slowly in a straight line as we practice in the course. You don't have to do it formally, but just this very simple act of walking. And now we are starting to involve a little bit of motor system, some small acts, but we're still kind of passively observing everything that's happening. There's not so much conscious will involved in walking. And when you get to the end, you can just turn around as you would, noticing experience of walking. But this is another form in which we're training to just observe and let things pass through. Thoughts, sounds, sensations, thoughts. And another posture, the posture of lying. So if it's okay for you, if you can just lie down on your floor, on the carpet, wherever, to lie down, and yet another posture which we're cultivating sensory awareness of, in different sensation in the body, lying. The nature of thought changes, maybe it becomes more sleepy, slower. Hearing continues. Seeing continues if you keep your eyes open. Okay, now we're going to get up slowly and use getting up as a mindfulness exercise, observing sensations. So this is the training. This is the training of the 4 postures of mindfulness. I think you are all familiar. Training awareness of the sensory circuit, 6 sense doors. Now we have this whole other part of the nervous system, which we are constantly using every day, the motor nervous system, which is not as trained in formal meditation practice. So it is traditionally it's broken down into the speech, so our speech, how we use our speaking, the actions of the body, how we use the body, how I use the body to pick up things, put down things, write, move, wash dishes, shake people's hands, type on the computer. We're using the body. And the thought. The thought is also another, it can be an active act to think, no? So if you start thinking about something you did yesterday. So thinking as an active act. So call to mind what you did yesterday and any details that you can call to mind with it. You can tell yourself, yesterday I did this and then this. Or call to mind what you're going to do next after this call. After this call, I have my plan. I'm going to do X, Y, Z. So we can use thinking as we use our body. Our body is in stillness and there's experience of the body. And then we start moving the body and we can use it. Sometimes it's unconscious the way we use the body. I kind of do things. sometimes it's very conscious. I know I'm going to pick this thing up, I pick it up. So the thinking is the same. When we don't do anything, thinking happens, but we can also direct thinking into actions as we do with the body. So here's the difficulty: how to translate the higher level of awareness, the higher level of freedom, of not holding on to things, not contracting around things, not letting go of things in the stillness, to having that same quality of experience when we are doing things, when we're going out and actively using our body, speech, and mind. It's not really talked about so much, this part, traditionally, especially in Theravada. They kind of tell you, okay, sit and walk, and then everything else will come. Okay, practice mindfulness in your daily life, and then everything will come. Some other traditions have a bit more emphasis on this. So, for example, the Zen tradition. The Zen tradition puts a lot of emphasis on working. So on working in the garden, on working around the temple to clean things, to kind of work, to actively do something and to practice the doing of the thing. And with the doing of the things, we discover how much we tense when we do things. So I remember volunteering in the Vipassana retreats, and I'm cleaning the dishes, and I recognize how much extra tension there is in my body or in my mind. I start thinking about how that guy should be cleaning them because he's just chilling now. He's kind of chilling and eating something. Why isn't he doing it? Why did I get up earlier and start cleaning this? So there's the tension around the activity of the action of doing it. So I want to practice this a little bit, and we're going to start simple and then get more complicated. The first thing is to tidy up your room. So tidy up the room you are in now. This is the first task. We're going to do it for, let's say, 5 minutes. You're just going to arrange your room how you, maybe it's already perfectly arranged. You're one of these people. But then you can just do something else. Just do something for 5 minutes and observe this doing of things and allow it to be smooth. And notice when it becomes not smooth, when there's 5 minutes, go. I will also do it. We meet back in 5 minutes. Okay. Or you can come back. So I will ask 2 or 3 of you to share your experience. What did you notice? Did it go smoothly? Or was there points you noticed contractions? What was during this point? And whoever would like to share can unmute themselves and go ahead.
Shall I start? Raima?
Please, go ahead.
Maria. I'm sitting in our sitting room. So actually tidying up was very much needed after the weekend. And it was pretty much physical work because there was a big chaos yesterday. But it was okay until I found the empty bottle of beer from my husband from yesterday evening, which is what I always tell him on the weekend, just put it back to the kitchen because one day it's going to fall down. It's going to be a bigger mess. And then I felt a big construction, but I just smiled like, well, so is it, and kept tidying up.
Nice, nice. So it was kind of this contraction appeared more from the thought and from the emotion and the memory.
From the view, it was like discovering the bottle like behind the sofa. It was like, yes, of course you are here once again. So it was seeing it and like pressure on the stomach and then like, no, yeah, so is it.
Good, good.
Mm.
Anything else? Any other points?
Not really. More well, yes, it's for me. It's kind of I really don't like to tie it up, but in this case was a kind of feeling of freedom because there was big house in the sitting room and I didn't have time yesterday or this morning to clean up. So it was kind of.
And did you kind of plan, have a systematic way, or you kind of just jumped spontaneously from
No, I
what you
was
saw to?
planning like I still have to raise up 2 children and they should also clean up the mess from yesterday. So I should not tidy up their part. So I was planning what can I do
Protecting, okay.
in order exactly so that they still have something to do after this call.
Okay, okay. Good, good. Someone else? Annie?
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to see you guys in person. I've always seen you in recording. Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
And one more thing, I just want to say thank you so much to Raymar's parents for raising a beautiful human being. I'm filled with much gratitude for that. It's, yeah, amazing. When I was, so I'm still sleepy a little bit here. When I was walking around, I'm in my kitchen and I started putting away dishes. And I just really noticed the sensory experience of it. Like as I was wiping the dishes to dry them off, each thing made a different sound. And so I really started connecting to that. Like I never noticed that. Like they each make, it was almost like I was, like musical instruments or something. It was very apparent to me, the sound of the cloth against the metal, against the glass, the plastic. Yeah. And also it's very quiet in the kitchen. So that's a little different.
In this journey of 5 minutes, was it kind of one smooth experience all the way through, or more of like a bump, like a few bumps along the way, whatever
No,
those bumps may
I
have
think
been?
more kind of like a dream. Like
Mm.
I kind of, my mind hasn't woken up.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
like a little bit of a dreamy state here.
mm-hmm,
I think the melatonin is still circulating
mm-hmm,
my body.
More like a dreamy flow of
Yeah, so
thinking.
not many thoughts really. Yeah, maybe I should wake up at this time more often, huh?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Good, nice. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Maybe one more person.
I
Shall
could
I
go.
go?
Oh, someone
sorry,
else?
go ahead.
I don't mind. You go. That's fine. You go.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I clean up all the time. I was cleaning up the breakfast that we just had, but the act of cleaning up mindfully was very different from the way I usually clean up, which is okay, I got to clean up and before I move on to the next thing. But just by investing attention to the cleaning up process, it made it so pleasurable and meaningful. And I was reminded of this movie that we just watched from Wim Wenders called Perfect Days. And it's about this Japanese cleaner of public toilets. Literally, the movie is just about him going around to different public toilets in Japan, and they're architecturally very beautiful. And he's just scrubbing them and cleaning them. And it's just amazing to watch that he gets such fulfillment and joy from it because he does it mindfully. Um, so, but I can empathize with Maria because when I was cleaning up my husband's crumbs, I also started thinking, thought like, oh, he's always leaving crumbs on the floor. So I can totally empathize with that.
Mm, mm. Rita, you want to share? Please go ahead.
Yes, I could share. What I noticed was what everyone else is saying. It was lovely to do it mindfully. And then when I had to make decisions, it was like I started to get agitated. I was thinking, well, I need this out for tomorrow. Will I put it away? Where am I going to put that? And once I got into having to make decisions and think, past this moment where it was quite fluid, it became much more agitated and stressful, I noticed.
Mm, 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 mm. Nice. Yeah, so there was a few points in what everyone is saying. They kind of, one is this aspect of when we start to think about what we're doing and it takes on a more weight or something, like if we're cleaning up someone else's mess, that we kind of, and then our personality comes and we don't want to, why they, and it creates this extra layer about what we're doing compared to if we're doing it for ourselves, no? It shifts the activity suddenly. Or this thing about when we are jumping ahead, like one thing what you were mentioning about the way you usually clean dishes, and I can relate to this, maybe there's a sense of rushing, like consciousness is moving ahead, is speeding ahead, and the body is catching up to fulfill this quickly, and yeah, it's like the mind is pulling the body behind it. Or when there's a decision made and then the mind separates again from the body and has to process and think about things before it can again rejoin the body in doing what we're doing. there's this idea about unifying body and mind into what we are doing. Unifying body and mind into what we're doing. And different things keep fragmenting parts of the body or fragmenting part of the mind. And whether it's a thought about something else that fragments part of the mind away, whether it's the body that's very sleepy and heavy and doesn't want to do it, and kind of is the heavier part that starts fragmenting away and pulling apart what we're doing, creating this kind of discomfort. So I'm very curious about this sense of discomfort that appears in doing tasks, whatever that may be, whether it's something mundane like what we just did, like cleaning the room, or something else. Maybe a question there is like, what makes actions that we take of the body, of the speech, of the mind, kind of joyful and whole, and what makes them uncomfortable and disassociative or resisting, struggling? And it is a question that we investigate in stillness, but also it's nice to investigate it in action. One more thing I want to try with you all. So 4 of you have talked, and I think we are 9. Yes, we are 9, and 10 including me. So 5 of you have not talked, and I want to invite each 5 of you for 1 minute of speaking, and you can speak about whatever you want. It can be something related to this call or your experience or something else. It doesn't matter. And the invitation is to allow speech to not be something that you kind of have to do very tightly and control the whole time. Like you have to know exactly how you're going to fill that moment, that minute. Maybe some of you are already starting to plan how you're going to fill that 1 minute. But allow speech to come more spontaneously, to rest back in yourself and to just start speaking and to kind of be curious and allow speech to take you wherever it does for a minute. And you are in a safe space. So everyone here, we are supporting each other. We are here to practice together. And the invitation is to practice spontaneous, free speaking. And I will invite Carla to start.
And whoever spontaneously the Vipassana I tried to get into the 10-day course in Holland, got kicked out twice and left a little bit. Then there was a Dutch teacher who was going to be in Zoom the whole month of March at 5:45 in the morning. And that was a gentle invitation instead of my trying to do Vipassana. So it's very, it's day 24 of my Dutch Vipassana teachings, via Zoom. And I couldn't resist this one. And I'm very happy I did join now. And because it's very different. Totally.
Thank you.
So I'll be having homework. It's nice. Already happy?
We close. 1 minute.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you, Carla. We will jump straight to the next person. Daniel, please. 1 minute.
Okay, so I was planning, not gonna lie, but this week was a little bit interesting for me because I I have exams next week and I was supposed to be studying. So my mind was like study, study, study. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, I started to get sick. But as any student, you think that, well, it doesn't matter if it's raining or if you're sick, you will still study. And the sickness got the better of me, so I had a flu and it was very strong. And at first I was resisting it and I was thinking, well, like, I'm just gonna study a couple hours, but I'm gonna keep moving forward. But as you can hear, it's still there. But at one point the fever that I got was so strong that I just had to stop studying. And in that moment the word equanimity completely clicked in my head. Because I reached a point where I couldn't really resist what was going on. I had fever. I couldn't really study, and I couldn't really rest. So I was just in this state of feeling the fever and not really being able to do anything about it. And by just observing it and just, yeah, sorry, I think I extended a little. By just accepting that the fear was there and not trying to resist it so much, that's what allowed me to understand what that word means. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mauricio, 1 minute.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Reimar, for the session. As always, very, very useful. I suppose I was planning a little bit as well, just thinking of yesterday, an event with, we have a new young dog that ran out from the gate on the road, and was calling him back. He wasn't coming, so I was feeling my hunger, I suppose my worry coming up on me, but still couldn't really just observe the emotions. They were really kind of, while I was realizing I was reacting to my emotions, I still, weren't able to control them. So I guess it's encouraging that I could observe more as they rise. I still can't just watch them, but something I thought was interesting for me to realize as it was happening rather than later, basically. Thank you.
Thank you. Aru, 1 minute.
Am I audible and clear? Can someone show
Yes.
thanks? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. So first of all, I'm feeling guilty because last few weeks or days I'm unable to practice regularly, and I'm into too many things. Last few weeks back, I went couple of trekkings, and next week also planning to go trekking. So practicing the body for the trekking, that is one reason. And also I'm into too many things. And recently my kids into 10th and 12th board exams. So I need to drop them to the tuition center. I need to pick them and then drop them in school. Need to go to office once again, pick them from tuition center. Other than that, I'm also into Toastmasters. Last week we had a speech contest there. So I participated in the speech contest, though I lost there. And so a lot of preparation required for that. I'm also learning about stock market and recently started writing blogs and also practicing speed reading. So I'm into too many things. Maybe my priority got changed, and once again, I want to focus here. So that's the reason I joined back so that I can resume my practice from today evening.
Thank you. Aru. Can we hear the type of minds behind these words? The type of mind behind these words. How the speech is forming in these different minds. There is the content of it, but what is the energy and how is it being formed? Can we hear it?
First
Last
of all,
person. Last person to speak. Thank you, Aro. I think it's Clara, no?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So theoretically, this makes me very comfortable that people are sharing their own thoughts and they are just letting it go. And you can see how the different speech patterns are. Like also, it does put me at ease, but at the same time, right now, because we are focusing on this, I am feeling very, very anxious. So, like inside, that is because when you talk and depending on how you breathe, sometimes you hold your breath when you talk and you don't let it flow. And so once you do that, you also, like I myself feel inside like this little ant farm building up. And so when I'm trying to relax my breathing, I'm also trying to relax my body, and then my mind settles as well and it gets a bit more relaxed. So right now it's better. At the beginning, 15 seconds ago, there was like a little war going on. And I'm very thankful for everybody sharing their own experiences because this puts me also way more at ease. And yes, was that already a minute? If not, I could go on and on and on talking about what I'm doing. It's beautiful weather. This morning I woke up to a
Last
rainbow that
sentence.
was very, very nice. So that's it.
Thank you, Clara. Oh, so nice. Hear everyone being themselves. So what is the point of these things? So any of the 5 people now that just shared, one of you can feel free to share something about the experience and also about listening to the others share for 1 minute, kind of freely, what you noticed in yourself, contraction, openness, how that shifted, and how you heard it in others. You can say, I noticed or I experienced without personalizing. I noticed or I experienced XYZ. And we're all here to learn and support. Actually, anyone can say what they noticed or experienced. Yes, Daniel.
Yeah, in my case, I noticed that sometimes when you, like as a person, are able to express, you tend to feel more open in like the physical language, I guess, like the body language, sorry. So you can express more and like say more and
I
feel
invite you
more.
to speak I, to say I. You mean I?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel that I get to express more when am able to speak or put the attention on the speech and less on, well, no, to let the speech flow as opposed to focusing on what is being said. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So you are just speaking and you're letting the speaking do the talking, let's say, as opposed to focusing on what are you going to convey to the other person to understand. It's less rational and more, I don't know if emotional would be the right word or more like intuition. You let the word or the whatever is coming through you flow through you, as opposed to try to rationalize it.
Thank you, Daniel. Anyone else?
I would.
Okay.
I notice I feel a direct, easy connection. I can lay back and listen. feel gratitude to be able to listen to people around the world expressing. That's what I noticed. Thank you.
Any of the other people that were speaking, or you, Carla, did you notice anything that Clara did mention something, but did you notice anything that contracted you as you were doing the minute?
Yes, in a way that the thoughts are more in, you have more thoughts than you can express. So as I'm busy telling something, the mind is going faster. And what Clara said about having a few 15 seconds, whatever, of anxiousness is also going through during the expression. And then the mind comes in. What will they think? Oh, what will... It's an explosion of...
Yes. Yes. Nice. Nice. Thank you. Yes. So there's something similar here happening as when we were doing the dishes or cleaning. When is the mind becoming further from the body and the speech or the form that is being manifested here? When is there unification and flow into what we're doing, what we're expressing, how we are putting ourselves out into the world, remembering it's this direction of out into the world and not just sensing stillness. And what are the things that contract that or create separation, where I suddenly become my thoughts, thinking about it and seeing myself from the outside versus being in it? And also, when does it just become like a blabbering? When does it become a mindless? We're also not trying to arrive at a place where it's just becoming a stream of senseless things, because that can also actually be a sense of being disconnected. Your mind is somewhere, your experience, your body is somewhere, and the two are completely disconnected. And it's like you're speaking from outside of yourself, and you keep going on about it and and there's also not this unification and focus and clarity in what you are doing. So finding this balance in action. And yeah. Where to go from here? Would anyone else like to comment on anything from outside it, or now later? Or questions, actually. Questions for yourself, for the group, for me.
I was actually thinking when you asked us, or you asked the others to do this exercise, that I have spent the last 20 years of my life training to do the opposite. So to breathe deeply before I talk and plan what I want to say, and actually have already the discourse in my mind before I start. This was my first thought, and the second thought was that this kind of frame that I was trained to build, because I have to speak pretty often to the public, that it gives me a kind of security. So starting a speech without knowing how it's going to end makes me insecure, which is nothing wrong, but it speaks against my training for a very long time. This was my experience. Yeah, I was more thinking of the Maria like 20 years ago.
And what you just said just now, it was like this also?
No. Actually, when you were asking, or you were actually explaining what we were supposed to do, I was like the others, maybe like instantly starting to think, okay, this can be the topic, this can also be the topic, and this can also be the topic. And it was just in this minute when you left us, or have a minute to think, or if we wanted to make a question or not, that I was thinking on my own experience, also physical experience, because this is something that when you suddenly have to speak for 200 people, this develops in a very physical experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. I meant not so much the minute, but the way you spoke just now in the
No,
last minute.
no, it was absolutely
Yeah.
open. It was free.
Yes.
Free speech.
Good, good, good. So there's a curiosity here, like exactly this duality, Maria, that you're raising now about, okay, I know who I am, I know what I'm going to say, I've planned out my points, and I'm in this frame, in this flow of this, doing this, and it can be something very clear and amazing skill, and depending on the context and setting, also a very beautiful thing. And when does it become something that we start to hide in, that we hide ourselves behind? Or when are we taking too much space and it becomes blah blah and unorganized and wide and broad, and how can we gather it and create more unification again? This width versus this linearity. Yeah, it's curious also with these talks that I've been doing or that I'm doing now, actually, like how much do I plan for them? How much do I do? I used to set out a lot in my points. Sometimes I went too much into like, okay, I'm going to improvise fully, and it kind of like doesn't go anywhere. It kind of stays flat and doesn't go. Sometimes it becomes too rigid, and I just speak from my idea, my memory of how it should go, instead of speaking from the moment of what it really is. So yeah, form versus formless is also a nice question. Yeah. Yes, Franny.
That's interesting, Maria. So I'm a yoga teacher, and when I first started teaching yoga, it was so structured, and it went on like that for a very long time. I just got used to talking that way. But then one thing I noticed, when you are speaking and it's structured, I am not as in tune with the audience. I'm more in tune with the structure, you know? I think there is a sweet spot where, you know where you're going to end up approximately, but then you allow the audience to guide you in a certain way.
Maybe I should have said that I don't work in my mother tongue. I live in Germany, so I have to work and give my speeches in German. And the kind of freedom you have when you speak in your fifth language is different from your mother tongue. So it's like if you start to improvise, from my experience, it's like after 1 hour of talking, you can really absolutely lose the point or any point, and the audience with you. So when I'm lucky enough to give an interview or give a speech in Spanish or in English, even in English, comes much more fluently. But when you have to concentrate in actually finding the right words in a language that you learned when you were over 30, it makes totally, completely different.
Would anyone like to comment who hasn't spoken so much yet? Daniel, I see your hand, but I would also like to open for others. Any thoughts? And if there's an idea forming, but you don't know how to put the words to it yet, maybe you can just start.
Can I say something about the experience of being a listener?
Mm.
So I was trying to practice active listening, but it's kind of hard. I'm not sure what active listening is, but in any case, when I listen to other people speak, the mind automatically, or my mind, I experience empathy, I experience curiosity, I experience judgment, I experience connection. So the mind automatically sort of starts processing, my mind automatically starts processing the information that I receive. And then when I sort of try and stop that, then I can't really process what's being said. When I was trying to like, because I was trying not to go into judgment or to, you know, to think about, oh yeah, what this person's describing, I also experienced that. And then, so I think for me to listen actively, I kind of have to do a bit of that, but sort of keep pulling back to, okay, listen to what this person is saying. And then the other thing I noticed also is beyond the words, watching the speaker, you also react to how they speak. So for example, if somebody's smiling a lot, it automatically also makes you more receptive, more happy. So the non-verbal cues are also, an experience.
Right. Yeah, the listening part is also huge. The active listening, and when the active becomes like a grasping listening, and a listening that starts to move away from what is being said, like, oh, she said this, and I start to abstract from there. So how to let that listening breathe also, like all these things that was produced around it, the connection, the empathy, the thoughts about it, the building the picture of that person, all of that, what is happening. So it's almost that's the nature of listening. No, it lands and it creates something in the experience here, which is beautiful because we start to connect. If I'm disengaged listening, just hearing something, and when is it less or more appropriate, and what is needed in any given situation. Cool.
I have a thought. Like something like, because you said you did this class or this course with the animals and how they perceive the world, and I'm just wondering, like if you're an elephant, for example, we have like this idea of the elephant being, yeah, okay, he's really chill, like walking around, and they're very, very loving and kind to each other, and they don't forget their own people for a very long time, go like to the elephant cemetery and things like that. But then again, like I wonder, maybe in their mind, it's just super wild and there's explosions all the time, and they're like something that we think of a squirrel or a dog, like going really wild, but they just have to like kind of counterbalance it with moving slowly, or like just the perception also of what is fast, what is slow, because everybody has like a different perception of this. Because in my case, I know sometimes I think I'm doing things very slow or very pronounced, but it's not at all. But in my own perception, it is like that. And so maybe in an elephant's mind, things are also extremely pronounced, but they actually just from our viewpoint, it's very, very slow. So yeah, I was like on the scientific side, I was just thinking, okay, how could you measure this? You know, you put like some funny little things on their head, and then you see how fast the neurons are throwing energy at each other or something. But and then the second thought was then, okay, like what I just said with everybody is perceiving this differently. So maybe, yeah, we're all squirrels and elephants. And then my my thought was, okay, what did you learn from there? You know, I mean, it's a big, it's maybe too short of a time we have now, but it would be interesting to hear, because we have like these set perceptions of different animals, but and of different people as well, like with the judgments, for example, as well. And yeah, it would be interesting to see what actually other animals, how, what's the science behind that?
Probably the squirrel thinks all humans are super slow, no? But because we see within a certain band, we have people who are slower than us and faster than us, but then all elephants are way slower, and the squirrel just sees all of us.
I think like, and then they stop again.
The relativity. Daniel, do you want to finish that thought that you are still raising your hand for?
Yeah, it's just something very brief. When Franny was saying the thing about being a teacher and then sometimes getting lost in the teaching, I felt that maybe a counterexample for that would be in music or in arts in general. But in performing arts, such as music, sometimes the performer can be so focused on the lyrics that they forget, if it's a vocalist, for example, that they forget that there's an audience. But I feel overall in music, when people are really connected to an artist and then the artist is also connected to the audience, that seems to be the most beneficial example for both, in the sense that the person gets to feel what they're performing and then the audience gets to feel what is being performed, but nobody's getting lost in something else. It's kind of like they're both sharing the same emotion. And I feel that in some way, if teachers, I'm talking more in like university level, because like there's too many things there that need change. But if teachers, for example, had that enthusiasm to connect what they're feeling, the excitement that they feel, to their audiences, and also making somehow a way for the audience to feel that, they wouldn't need to be so focused on their syllabus or what they're teaching, because they're both on the same page. So yeah, I feel that like that in the arts is very interesting when people connect without having to think so much about what they're saying.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much for all this thought. And I think to start closing the session, I want to do a few minutes, and after this we will close, of movement. And I invite you for this movement, for it to arise spontaneously and freely, and allow to include your whole body. So not just the movement of a finger or hand, but try to have movement continuously in your whole body. You can be on or off camera, whatever is up to you. And to take a few minutes to allow movement to guide you rather than you to guide the movement. You don't need to know what's going to happen next. So let's take our place. I will say a few words along the way. It's about unifying the body and mind into what we're doing. Whatever movement starts to come, just follow the impulse, whether they come from the body or the mind. You can explore all levels, can be lower, can be related to standing or walking through space or lying or sitting. Just allow continuous movement to unfold. Don't do something that you know. Don't rely on some form that you know before and you are just repeating, but allow it to be more surprise you. Allow it to surprise you. The movement. You don't need to know where you're going. It can be slow or fast. It can be slow motion. Find yourself in places where you haven't been. Be comfortable where you are. Don't do something that's uncomfortable. And force your body into something. Listen to the body moving. Notice when your mind jumps out of the movement and into something else. Bring it back with a conscious movement. A movement with no purpose. Not even the purpose to be fit or anything like this. A movement with no purpose. A movement that delights in itself or just existing. And let's take a deep breath wherever you are and arrive in stillness. Two more deep breaths wherever you are. Allowing body and mind to land and rest in the same place. And then to clearly move back to the call, the screen, the seat. Let's write one thing that we take from the session into the chat. It can be kind of unrelated to what we did, or maybe it's something related or that sparked off from something. Can be in the form of a mantra, reminder, or any other form. Just a phrase or sentence right in the chat. The ease that arrives with being fully present in mind and body. Practice consciousness, mindfulness. The mind is the body is the mind. Wavelength and broad spaces. Take time to experience. Attend to the connection between body and mind. I would like to let go of detailed structure in my speech and be more spontaneous. Alternative consciousness. Anything else? Peace that comes with body and mind. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Yeah, it was nice to see you all. And maybe we'll do another one in a little bit. I will go to Japan next month. I'm not sure how much time I will have there in space. Let's see when is the next one. Can we connect monthly once like this? It's very difficult for me to commit to like a monthly day because in my life there's a lot of different moving parts always and things are always a little bit shifting. So it's actually difficult to like plan even a month, commit to a date. But I can say that we can make some meetings like this spontaneously once in a while. And if you all want to unmute and say bye, something can be all at once, doesn't have to be like sequentially.
Great to see everyone.
Thank you for the
Yeah.
session.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
you.
Raymar. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Lovely to
Raymar.
see you all.
you.
Nice seeing you
Lovely
all.
to see you all.
Great. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Raymar.
Bye, everyone.
This was great.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you very much. It was a very nice experience. And it gets me addicted again.
Addicted to? Again. Addicted again.
Again to, well, the practice and the possibility of joining again.
Thank you.
So have a nice time in Japan.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.